All right, guys. I'd like to welcome us to this very important conversation. So over the last couple of months, as you guys are aware, there's been a whole lot of conversations around the drivers of the e-hailing companies, right? Like Bolt, for example, in this case. But before then, these guys have been up to something. They've been working on um, data to be able to bring certain conversations. Now, why this is important is because it will help us to understand that you know, um, we're not just supposed to be there and be making assumptions, as it were, that we're supposed to, at most, be able to back whatever we're saying with data. The idea is that this conversation, they're going to be able to explain certain things, and that will help us understand how important it is for us to pay attention to data. And it's not necessarily about the fight, whether both drivers are thieves and all of, no, no, no. The idea is to just make us understand the importance of data, and you see the amazing work that they've done. In this conversation, I have two very, very amazing data analysts. I have Mr. Justice Ewele and Miss Ibialabo Dapa, and they're going to be taking us through this whole thing and, making us understand what is going on. So, Mr. Justice, if you can hear me, over to you, sir.
Okay, thank you so very much, sir. Um, Once again, it is a privilege to be in this webinar. And this project was carried out by 6 of us. It was part of our capstone project. We were admitted as interns or data analysts in Havos. And so part of our mentorship project was to carry out a study about boats and how it operates. If we remember, boat has come to stay in this part of the world, and it has really contributed to the transport sector. And so prior to 2023, there was the incidents we studied was not so rampant. And so with the removal of fuel subsidy, it became very imperative to carry out this study, because we've seen so many discrepancies. So we carried out a study as to find out or ascertain or determine why there is a public outcry with regards to what happens with boat drivers. And so what we set out to determine why boat drivers charge what they charge, and which is not in consonance with what is in the app. And so we did set out to determine all of this. And we looked at several factors. We looked at what are the variables that is influencing this. Why are boat drivers charging what they are charging? Are there justifiable reasons? And so that's what this project set out to achieve. And so what we did was that we began to we used 116 rides. We used 116 rides, and this was between the Ripoku, SAS, and Uniport axis. And so the choice of the location was so instructive. The choice of the location was so instructive because from our studies, our preliminary studies, we found out that there's a high traffic flow between that Rukpokwu, SARS, and Uniport area. And so we used it as a test case to, as a model to find out, to help justify our research. And so what we did was we booked rides. The total rides we booked amounted to 116. We booked about 116 rides, and we used that to find out how much both. So when we booked those rides, we wanted to get first-hand experience about what was happening. And so what we did was, when we booked that ride, we see what is on the boat app, and then we hear from the boat riders. And so what we found out that there was something that looks like a 200% astronomical difference between what is on the boat app and what the boat riders are asking us to pay. And so we set out to now find out what are the reasons for this. Why these differentials? Are there justifiable reasons for these differentials? And we began to ask questions. And so before the subsidy removal, fuel was about 700 naira or less. And so between Rukpokwu, for instance, and Uniport, the fare was about 2,300. And so with the removal of the fuel subsidy, there was an astronomical rise in the price of fuel. And so fuel, I think the apex, the highest it went was about 1,500. And because of this rise in the price of fuel, there was just a slight adjustment in the price of fares as adjusted in the boat app. And so it rose from 2,300 to about 2,700, 2,500. And so taking into cognizance the price of fuel, so these boat drivers felt that they were largely shortchanged. And the market economy has a spiral effect. It has a spiral effect. And so because of the increase in the price of fuel, the vehicle parts rose. And so, for instance, brake pad, experienced about 100% increase. And so the cost of servicing vehicles, rose as the price of fuel rose. And, coupled with, several other issues like bad roads and a whole lot of, indices, amounted to the reason as adduced by the boat drivers, amounted to the reason why they increased the fare or why they decide to give an increased amount with regards to their fares. And so why we set to investigate this, we also try to look at the vehicles these drivers are also using for this service. And we were asking, are some of these cars, are they service friendly to the extent that are their parts relatively cheaper? What is the level of fuel consumption? Are they relatively fuel efficient against the others? And we were also trying to find out what is the take-home pay of these boat drivers after the boat management has taken theirs. They've spent money for fuel, and sometimes they also encounter some of these arboros, police, and extortions, and the rest of it. And so what we set out 6 basic objectives. And one of the objectives we set out in this study was to determine why boat drivers in Port Harcourt frequently charge fares above the amount quoted on the app. And so that was one of the objectives we set out to achieve. The second objective we set out to achieve was to assess whether the estimated fuel cost, to assess whether estimated fuel cost meaningfully explains driver take-home earnings. So we want to find out what is the correlation between the price of fuel and then what these boat drivers eventually take home. The third objective that guided this study or this investigation was to identify which time of the day and which vehicle type generate the highest revenue on the boat platform. So what we did understand was that there are times, or there are time frames that are so regarded as prime times, where the price of fare usually increase, and there are a range of time where the prices normalizes. And so we wanted to find out, so do time range affect both fare? Do vehicle types affect both fares? And so the fourth objective we also identified was to test whether the number of rides a driver has completed has any effect on the fare quoted by the boat app. So if a driver is able, that's the principle of turnover. If the driver is able to complete more rides, does the boat app either reduce or increase the fare that those who are ordering for the vehicles will see. And the fifth objective was to build an interactive Excel. So these four other things were we're trying to identify the variables that determine this. And so we also decided that, okay, in doing this, we need to build an interactive Excel dashboard, that presents these findings clearly for both, technical and not technical audience. So we're not just doing this research for fun. We identified from the word go that we want to improve the interaction or the relationship that exists between the driver, the boat management, and those who also book for this rides. And so after that, when we have built our interactive dashboard, we also decided to also propose practical recommendations that boats and similar riding hailing platforms could consider in response to our findings. And so what we now knew that data was key. And so our data sets, we decided to now say, what do we need to justify or to investigate or to validate whatever we wanted to do. So the data set consisted of, like I had said, 116 real boat trip records. We collected it individually across the designated routes. So each record presents a single completed trip and includes the following categories of information. And so number one, we collected trip details. And in collecting trip details, what did we do? We looked at the date of we booked those rides, the time frame in which we booked those rides, the pickup location, the destination, time of the day. Like I said, are we booking this ride between 7 to 9 a.m.? Are we booking this ride between 12 p.m. to 2 p.m.? Are we booking this ride between 5 p.m. to 9 p.m.? And the list was so the next thing we did was to also look at the vehicle type. To ask ourselves, Corollas or the type of vehicle, does it contribute? And we looked at the vehicle model, we looked at distance traveled, when you travel longer distance, are the fare a bit more considerate, or are they more, expensive? We looked at all those. And we did also look at fare details. The fare quoted by both app and the actual fare that they drive, the actual fares that you find on your boat app, and the actual fare that the drivers eventually get to negotiate with the people who have booked the ride. And we also looked at driver activity. When we talk about driver activity, we're talking about the number of rides completed by each driver, like I had stated earlier on. We also did look at fuel details. We looked at fuel details. We did look at fuel details. And so we asked fundamental questions as what is the price of fuel per liter? What is the price of fuel per liter? And we did ask fundamental question to the effect that are these prices of fuel, are they predictable, or they change, and if they change, how does the boat app react to all of this? And so we looked at that. We also looked at the derived fuel costs. And so the time frame of the study spans between, we conducted this study within 4 days. We conducted this study within 4 days. And so it goes within 4 time range, sorry. We conducted it within 4 time range. 7 a.m. to 9 a.m., 12 p.m. to 2 p.m., 5 p.m. to 9 p.m., and 9 p.m. onwards. And the case study, like I had said earlier on, is between Rupoku, SARS Road to University of Port Harcourt, all the environs within the University of Port Harcourt, Choba, all those environs. And so we used it to anchor analysis as the case study, because we needed a case study to project whatever results we're going to be putting out to the public. And so, having gotten all of this information, the next task that confronted the team was that of data cleaning and data preparation. And so we had gotten all the data. So we need to clean this data. We need to prepare this data. We need to ensure that these data are ready for use. And so the raw data was collected directly from real boat trips and transferred into CSV file for cleaning and analysis in Excel. And so we followed certain steps. We followed certain steps in doing this. So the outlier treatment, we feature engineering, categorical handling, and the rest of it. So we use these functions to clean up the data. With regards to the outlier treatment, we looked at distance values, were cross-checked and corrected using Google Maps. Since a small number of recorded distances appeared inconsistent with actual routes. And so we looked at that. And when it came to categorical handling, fields such as vehicle type and time of the day range were standardized and grouped consistently to allow for reliable comparison and across the data set. And so having done that, we knew that, okay, it was time to analyze our data. It was time to analyze our data. And so the analysis was carried out entirely in Microsoft Excel using a combination of tools suited to exploratory and statistical analysis. And so what did we do? We used the pivot tables and pivot charts to summarize revenue by time of the day range and by vehicle type. And we also used the data analysis tool pack. Was used to run correlation analysis and multiple linear regression in order to test the relationship between fare, distance, fuel cost, and driver take home. And we also made use of scatter plots, with red lines, and we also use conditional formatting, to build a correlation, heat map. making it easier to spot which variable moved together for testing. And so we then went ahead to build interactive dashboard. We went ahead to build interactive dashboard using slicers connected to pivot charts, allowing the findings to be filtered dynamically by time range, vehicle type, and car efficiency. And so the regression output was interpreted using three key indicators. We used three indicators to interpret the regression output. And so we use the R square value, which shows how much of the variation in the outcome is explained by the model. We use the p-value, and we also use and the coefficient, which shows the size and direction of each variable effect. And so with this, I will be handing over the baton to my colleague, IB, who will be giving us the results, results and visualization of, so that we can see this interactive dashboard. She will be exhibiting it to us, and we will see how our findings were able to reflect in our in our dashboard. Yes, and so I'll hand over to IB right now. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you so much, Justice. Thank you. Amazing, amazing, in-depth explanation there. Amazing work you guys did. And thank you. I was paying so much attention to the objectives that you guys focused on and the procedures, the data cleaning the data collection, the data cleaning process and all. So amazing job right there. So sorry, Miss Ibialabo, over to you, ma'am, if you can continue now.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Stewart. Thank you, Harvard Tech, for this wonderful program. And thank you, everyone, that Justice, for your wonderful presentation. Thank you very much. So he has explained everything, our problems and everything. He has explained them all. So I'll just dive into the result and the visualization. He stated our objective. So our result and visualization is actually answering the questions: why do both drivers actually charges more than the above quoted fair price on the boat app? And why has both refused to update their price on the boat app? So I'll start with the first one, which is the insight one. What time of the day generates the highest revenue on boat app? Oh, wow. This is really interesting. You can see 9 p.m. upward generate highest revenue on both app. Why? During our findings and research, we found out that 9 p.m. even me, I don't like Benz car. Somebody tried it. Camry generate the highest. Did an analysis where methods have that specific a Mercedes-Benz car, because the other person is using a Toyota car, the price is different. Is the same price. So the highest, the car that generate the highest revenue for both is Toyota Corolla, Toyota Camry, another Toyota product. Because of this availability of parts in the market and the maintenance, and it has low fuel consumption, which will come to it why drivers use it more. Depending on any car you have, does not mean distance was 11 kilometer, and the highest was 20 mentioned earlier, to be accurate about this result and this analysis. So if you're booking a ride that is
All right, Ivy, I don't know if you can hear me. You might have to go off and join again. Your network is quite terrible. We don't seem to get most of the things you're saying. So if you can go off and join again, that would be nice.
okay. I just went off and joined again.
Right. So
Please, can
proceed
anyone
now.
hear me now?
We can hear you
Yeah, we
better
can hear you
now.
now better.
Okay, cool. I don't know where my network stopped for me to continue.
Well, it's not been, the network has not been good at all. We wouldn't mind if you start again, if you just continue, or maybe go back to like 2, 3 minutes back, that'll be fine. Or even 2 minutes back, yeah.
Okay, so I will start with the insight one again. Which time of the day generate the highest revenue on both app? So you can see we have 9 p.m. onward, followed by 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. to 9 a.m. So why? Why do we have 9 p.m.? Probably both have a slight rewarding system for drivers that will be late, that will stand out late to come out and drive someone. Somebody like me, I don't like going out late. So that will stand out to drive somebody late. So both generate more money at that time. And drivers also generate more money at that time. Followed by 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. is a rush hour. Everybody have an appointment. You don't want to be late in your appointment. You don't want to be late in your job. So you book a boat and you don't mind the amount. You just want to go to your destination. So both also generates money, high amount of money at that time. So we have the 9 p.m. onward first. So I move to the highest revenue on the boat app. My colleague mentioned earlier Toyota Camry and Toyota Corolla generate the highest money on both app. Both does not really check if your car is Mercedes Benz or your car is Toyota Corolla, what they know is the same fare for any trip, the same time, the same direction, the same location, is the same trip. So how we did this was that if it's the same trip, the same time, so which car does both actually generate the highest revenue? So we checked, we saw that Toyota Corolla and Toyota Camry are frequently used by drivers, Nigerians. Why? After further research, we found out that why are they using Toyota Corolla? Why are they using Toyota Camry? Why are they using Toyota product? Because it is available, is the part that is available everywhere in the market in Nigeria, and you can easily maintain it. And the fuel consumption is also low. We'll check it on the next chart. So I move to the next one, which is comparison of both fare and fuel cost per distance by the time range. Yeah, this is just like a chart showing you the comparison for each distance, a smaller distance to a higher distance. Just like my colleague mentioned earlier, we use Google Map to get the exact distance. It's not a guesswork. It's like exact distance using Google Map as an evidence. And using this exact distance, our least distance was 11 kilometers, followed by our highest distance was 21 kilometers. So we did a comparison chart, which is shown in here, that if you're going a ride like 11 to 16 kilometers, the actual amount both will charge you, that's the average. And we use time range because we worked with a specific time range, just as my colleague mentioned. So from 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. upward, you can see the average is like 3,000, and somebody is paying fuel price of like 2,008. You have not removed both 25 percentage. It's clearly telling you, if you're the drivers, let's be plain, if you're the drivers, once you want to get more, you have not added traffic. Maybe, and sorry, I forgot to tell you how we got the estimated fuel cost. This was a manufacturer car efficiency. For every car we checked for the manufacturer efficiency rating range for every car. That was how we got this estimated fuel cost. So we did not ask drivers. We did not ask them, oh, please, how much is no? Because even some drivers don't know how much they cost, like the fuel cost for each trip. They only know, okay, I did a ride, I paid social amount for a fuel to move from this location to this location. So we use manufacturer efficiency rate, which we use the worst case scenario. Probably the driver's tank is leaking, probably the car is old, anything can happen. But we did not include traffic scenarios and other day-to-day activities that the drivers will face. So that was how we got the estimated fuel cost. And imagine we did not add those things. We did not add traffic. We did not add other scenarios. And we are getting, if somebody book a ride of 3,000 naira from 11 to 16 and the person is paying fuel of 2,000 something for that ride, that means the person is probably using 2 liters or 2 liters or 1.1 liter for the trip. The person is not actually making gain. The person is losing. That's why drivers charges more than the quoted fare price on both apps. So let's move to the next slide, which is does the number of rides completed by drivers affect both fare? You can see where you have thousands of ride on both app. You have 1,000, you have 2,000. Both does not have a analysis on this using using trend lines, regression, correlation to do all these findings, telling you using is not even significant. Both does not do it. They don't have a rewarding system. The only rewarding system I can still they are fair for people that will be out late to actually benefit. That's the only rewarding system after analysis one, which is why drivers uses fare and fuel cost. Like we mentioned earlier, why do they use it? I've already said it. Because of the consumption of fuel is low. It has low consumption of fuel. Through the chart, you can see. So I'll move to the next one, which is this is where we have been waiting for. This is like the next question to objective to app fair for Nigeria. This everybody wants to know why. On our case study, doing this analysis and research project, we use estimated manufacturers efficiency range for it. Probably both is using the same thing. That's why they have not updated their app. They don't see it's not meaningful to them. We have a arrow square of 0.28258 showing it's not a strong regression. It's not really making sense for them. There are other factors that affect there are other factors that affect it. We have distance, we have other factors. So fuel cost does not really affect it for them to update their app because they are using estimated manufacturer efficiency range, probably. Because we, on the case study, we also use the same thing. Cost, what driver experience. They don't know the government policies of other countries. They don't know countries where subsidy has been removed. They don't know the traffic and other things driver face day-to-day activities. They don't know. So that's why it looks like Bolt has refused or reluctantly not updated their app for Nigerian drivers. So we built an interactive dashboard for this, which we built an interactive dashboard. Okay, so this interactive dashboard we built for it using pivot tables, slides. It's very interactive. It's just like a picture of it, but it's very interactive. There are more findings with it when you work with it. It's very interactive. It's just a picture of it. So we move to the interpretation and business impact. So taken together, not kept pace with the real cost of operating a ride-hailing vehicle in Nigerian fuel cost alone does not strongly predict. You can see we use manufacturer efficiency range. So it's not a strong this thing, like for them to actually increase or update their app that, oh, we have increased it. Oh, no. That's what we use. That's the same model they are also using. So to predict why drivers take home, we suggest that both fare algorithm, that's the same thing we use. That's the same thing both is using. Much like estimated uses in this study, may be built on generalized assumption about fuel efficiency and running costs. So we do not really know, both did not also know the day-to-day each driver faces in Nigeria. Okay, like countries, not just Nigeria. I know we are using Nigeria as a case study, not just Nigeria. Other countries where they are, like for Nigerians, for price. We have traffic, heavy traffic, places like this our routes we use. A lot of Port Harcourt drivers know this route. The traffic here is very heavy, especially in Boko Oasis, Market Junction is very heavy. So other countries other cities where Lagos, that traffic in Lagos is hectic. So other traffic, they would consider all that to actually know how much will they update their app to to also bridge this directly negotiating drivers protocol, these findings, fuel prices, government policy, quoted prices doesn't cover their cost of living. How will somebody leave their house in the morning and you drive the whole day, looks like you did a merry roll round and you did not gain anything? You won't want to risk your time for it, right? You won't want to. That's why they are adding more price, and that's why they are overcharging. So closing this gap, is very important. It can also benefit, it will benefit, not it can. It will benefit the boat drivers, benefit the passenger, also benefit both. So that when they update this app, so let's move into the recommendation so that I'm going to talk more about it. So introduce a structured driver's feedback. I've been saying it somehow earlier. Both you have a model where they ask drivers how much, like, how was your day, how much did you spend for fuel, how was the ride, was there traffic? They can track it. The way they track it, they can track it to know how, like, how many time, like the distance covered, the time and everything they spent for that trip. And also have a model built for them where they will be checking the prices of fuel for every country, not just Nigeria. For every country, a day to daily activities, a model that have a daily analysis for how much is fuel price for every country, and what is it like the daily activity, the transportation sector of every country. How is it like? Is it like the fuel subsidy has been removed in Ghana, in Nigeria, or what country? Is it that the fluctuation of fuel? Is it that market? Is it that the fuel scarcity? I could remember the time of fuel scarcity. Is it that this period is fuel scarcity? For them to actually know, like a system where they build to get feedback from the drivers, not just a rating, not just them getting passengers rating, drivers rating, not just that, not just the feedback they need. They also need other feedback so that they can get how much a driver really, like, how much do they even cost for every trip they do. This like one of the best recommendation because it's going to tail to others recommendation. The next ones was review and update. So when they get this feedback from them, they will now update their app. You can't be using the same app. We're in technology world, where technology is driving so fast. So they should be updating their app. The way the world is revolving and everything is changing, they should be updating their app frequently so that it can also favor the drivers, favor the passenger, also favor them for people to still join both. And John be like, oh, this app is actually doing something. I feel like I want to join both. So it's quite good. So they should have this system updating their app frequently to bridge this gap, to even not even bridge. They should end this gap because it's quite not funny. They should end this gap. Incorporate, localize, and reward fuel operating, like the one we use on this case study was manufacturer estimated fuel cost. So what if they should get this model? They will actually get the feedback they want. They will actually know how much these people cost, how much fuel they cost per each trip without using manufacturer estimated fuel cost. Because there's some traffic, especially in this Nigeria, Lagos, there's some traffic you will enter, it will even consume the manufacturer's fuel efficiency range. It will consume it. So that's like they should build like the first one was building this model. So this model tail to everything. They get the whole record they want, update their app, get the record they want, and also get how much driver cost, how much fuel they cost, and everything. The last one was introduce a loyalty and reward system. Man, how can somebody be riding boats for years, having you hit 1,000 rides, no reward? and somebody that just starting both the same price is quite not fair. For them to have a reward system, okay, if you hit 1,000, I don't know how they want to do it, but it's they should incorporate it. You hit 1,000, right? Oh, you hit 1,000, right? Okay, the first two trip, no commission, is all yours. At least for people to be like, oh, this company has have us in heart, and wow, everybody will be rushing to hit 1,000. Everybody will be willing to hit 1,000. So that's like it. We move to the limitation and next step. Wow, we have like three limitations for this our case studies and this project. We have limitation: the fuel cost as an estimated proxy variable. I've been mentioning it. I've been mentioning it. The manufacturer efficiency fuel cost we used is not funny, because you don't really know what these people face every day. You don't know the traffic. You don't even know the country's regulation. You don't know the country's policy. You don't know anything. Just like Nigeria, fuel subsidy has been removed. We have fluctuation of fuel. We have different government policy. Different countries, they faces this. That's like a limitation for us, because we don't really know how much these people actually cost for fuel. Just like the same algorithm both use, manufacturer efficiency fuel cost. That's the same thing we use in this case study. So it's like a limitation. The next step is that they should upgrade, build a model or a system that gets feedback and know how much a driver costs, how much a driver costs per fuel in each trip. The next one was fuel cost and drivers take home earning in Nigerian perspective. We did it just for Port Harcourt. What of Lagos? Are they doing the same thing? Are they charging higher fare? Are they charging more? It's just Port Harcourt. So our case study was limited because we did just for Port Harcourt, just a specific location. We did not actually know other locations, Lagos, with different countries, Ghana, we don't know what is going on there. So our case study is limited. And the next step is they should incorporate other people to do other analysis to get findings if it's the same thing happening in different city, different countries, anywhere at all, both operate. So the next one was size, the sample size and scope, which was we used 116 observation covering this project, and we used 100 different vehicle models. Like we said, Toyota Corolla, Toyota Camry is frequently used in Nigeria. What of other countries? What of other states? What of other countries? Let's put it like that. What car do they frequently use? It's like a limitation for us. What car do they frequently use? We can't just say, oh, is applicable for all boats. No, it's just for Nigeria. It's just for Nigeria. So it's like a limitation for us. It's just for Nigeria. There should be a next step for them to do analysis for other countries too. So conclusion, we come to conclusion. This study set out to understand why boat drivers in Port Harcourt often charge more than the app quoted fare. We've answered this question with our chat. Why do they charge above the quoted fare? You can see somebody booked a ride for 3,000 and you're spending fuel of 2,000 something. Like, it's crazy. It's not funny. It looks like the person is working for God. It's not funny. And this person has to still meet up home demands and other things. So it's really not nice and not funny. That's why they charge more. And when they charge more directly to the passenger, they tell the passenger, oh, this is why I'm charging you this amount. Oh, this is why and the passenger reasons, oh, it's true, you're not lying, it's actually true why you're charging this amount. They're not supposed to even direct it to the passengers. They're supposed to direct it to both. Both should have a feedback where they direct every of their complaints, like every problem they have, the trip, the fuel cost and everything, to both, not to passengers, to actually cut this gap between boats directly negotiating with passengers, between boat drivers directly negotiating with passengers. Then the next one was why boat has not reversed its pricing in the boat app we mentioned earlier, and a case study. We use manufacturer efficiency rate for each car. Probably both is using the same thing. That's why it's not a strong reason for them. The other factors that they're looking out to, it's not a strong reason for them, in which they are supposed to check other countries. Oh, what is this country running? What's the transportation of this country? Their daily activities for this country. Is the government policy still the same since we came into this country? Have the fuel subsidy been removed? Has it been added? What is the price fluctuation of fuel in this country? They should put all this into consideration so that they can also update their app, and not the same old app, at least frequent updates, not future update that you have to update some features in it, but update the main part, which is the fair price for passengers and also drivers. So our case study, which my colleague Mr. Justice mentioned earlier, we used Rukwaku/SAS Road, and our destination was Uniport. A lot of drivers in Port Harcourt knows this route. SAS Road, Rukwaku, they know how heavy traffic is in Rukwaku Market Junction. So this was a case study, and within a wider sample, which we got 116 trips, which my colleague mentioned earlier, for this analysis. And we also found to explain the driver's take-home amount, which we did the analysis there for you, and also that revenue peak in the evening time. We're also telling you both drivers, revenue peak in the evening time is very high. Both has a higher fare in the evening and also in the rush hour, which is 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. And also, we also mentioned the type of cars that is frequently used by both drivers that have low fuel consumption, which is Toyota Corolla, Toyota Camry, anything Toyota product. And also, the ride count has no bearing on fair drivers, like the rides, the number of rides. You have 1,000 rides, no compensation, no reward. We are also recommending both on this aspect, that drivers have ride 1,000 rides. There should be a rewarding system for them. They should reward them. They have tried. And also their old customers, they should also reward them, not just the same thing. People just starting any the same thing with them is quite unfair. So today, these findings suggest that both fare model may not just reflect to few volatile reality of driving costs in Nigeria, and that closing this gap, we are like closing it completely. This gap could meaningfully benefit drivers, passengers, and platforms like boats, not just boats, other e-hailing companies. So thank you very much, Mr. Stewart. Thank you very much, Harvard Tech Hub. Thank you very much, Mr. Justice. And also thank you everyone on this live. Thank you very much for being here with us. Thank you, sir.
That was super, 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 super amazing. Like that's some stuff right there. That's some stuff right there. And thank you. Thank you. So Mr. Justice, I don't know if you're still on the call. Can you hear me, sir?
I am still here, sir.
Please, what will be your final words? What will be your final words on this?
Yeah, this research was let me not say very comprehensive. This research we were so detailed in doing this research and very intentional. And this research is intended to improve the boat app. In fact, the e-hailing infrastructure in Nigeria. And so we intend to push out the outcome of this research by publishing this, and hoping that it gets the attention of the appropriate stakeholders in this industry. such that they can look into our findings and our recommendations and try to adjust whatever things we have identified in the course of this research. And so in doing this, it will in no small measure improve the state of the drivers themselves, the confidence of those who are booking for this ride. And so the entirety of the structure will benefit from this at the end of the day. And so we hope that no research is comprehensive. So subsequently, if there are gaps in our research or if there are gaps in whatever we have recommended, subsequent research can be carried out or analysis can be carried out in this. We're grateful to have us, and we know that this is recorded and it will be on YouTube for people to come and make reference to, whether now or in the future. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, Justice. Thank you, and IB, thank you once again for your presentation, powerful, in-depth presentation. And Justice, thank you for how much you broke down those objectives, which made it a whole lot easier for us to understand what IB was saying. Thank you so much. So I believe that in the coming days, if this article is not already online, we are going to be able to have it so that people can be able to access them. Right? Thank you so much. You can say your goodbyes now. IB, please, you can say your goodbye.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Mr. Stewart. Thank you, Mr. Justice. Thank you, Harvard Tech Hub. And thank you, everyone, joining us for this live. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Justice, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so very much for everyone who found time to connect. I was just going through the comment session, and I saw that somebody was saying, I'm joining from Kigali, all the way from Kigali. And so we are grateful to everyone who has joined. Stay tuned to this channel. More sessions will be coming up, and we promise to live up to expectation. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So to all of you that joined on YouTube, Deborah Douglas, thank you so much. Arkan Friday, we see you, we appreciate you. Empress Empire, thank you. Barivure, thank you. Code with me all the way from Kigali. Thank you. Amazing Esther, thank you. Zendra, and everyone else who watch, and those of you who's going to watch this later, thank you so much. We appreciate these data analysts for the job they've done, and being able to, bring clarity, and whatever we can say now, you have data that you can fall back to, you have an analysis you can fall back to stand on any side you want to stand. Thank you so much, guys. Do have a wonderful evening.
Thank you, sir.